Hi, welcome to Revival Us 7. My name is Joe. I just want to talk about a little topic that I've been thinking about today. I realize that some people are thinking there will be an awakening, and some people are thinking there will not be a revival or an awakening. But because the Bible says that there will be a falling away. In Matthew 24, it does talk about the falling away. It says, "For the hearts of many will grow wax cold." Now, what is it? Well, is there going to be an awakening and revival? Or are many hearts going to grow wax cold? The answer to this is both of these things are going to happen. So, beloved, now we have a choice of what we want to do about both things happening simultaneously. Do you want to choose to get bitter about all the evil and the falling away of people in the world and focus on that and talk about all the bad news? Or will you awaken and not give up until until the end on your loved ones, on your city, on your town? You see, I've been talking about mountains that are like obstacles. Mountains like get in your way. You have to drive around it or go over the mountain. You have to conquer that mountain. But these are like mountains in our hearts that prevent us from finding the love, joy, and peace that Jesus has and the fruit that he has of the Spirit in a time of great shaking and turmoil where governments are failing. Man's governments, God's government will arise when man's government fails. You see, God's government is a government of justice, and he will release that. And he will continue to release the message of his love and his joy and his peace and his salvation till the end of the age. Now, do we want to partner with what God is doing, or do we want to tell everybody about all the bad news and how our ideas about an awakening or a revival are wrong because let's just focus on all the bad news happening? I'm not saying that one or the other will happen. I'm saying that they will both happen. Now, it's time to examine our own personal hearts and the obstacles, the mountains that are inside our hearts that stop us from loving and receiving that love and joy for people around us in this desperate time of great need. Hi, let us take a ride through the mountains together. Mount Gerizim. Mount Gerizim was the entryway to the promised land. It was the dividing place. Gerizim actually means the dividing place. We have to learn to divide the old life from the new. The second mountain I talked about was Ebal. Ebal actually means heap of ruins. We have to somehow in our hearts get over that obstacle of the heap of ruins in our past. That's the mountain that the curses were announced on. We have to leave the curses behind. You see, if we are not careful in this ride in life, we can be left with a lonely trailer house The third mountain I talked about in some of the other videos is Sinai. Sinai is the mountain that Moses was given the law. This is what I call the religious mountain. Sinai is more than just a place to receive the laws of God. It's a place to realize that God cares enough to bring order and direction in our life. His word, His direction, because He loves us. You see, we can choose to get on the main highway like everyone else, or we can choose the narrow path. Okay, the fourth mountain is what I call Mount Nebo. Mount Nebo is where Moses died. He could see the promised land all around him. This was the place that 40 years before he sent spies into the land. But all they could say is, we see giants in the land. I call Mount Nebo the mountain of fear. Are we going to see the giants in the land? Or is it time now to get up on top of that mountain like Moses did and see the promised land and say, we are now going in? Mountain number 5 is Mount Zion. I've talked about this in one of the lessons. This Mount Zion was the city of David. It was a fortress with walls. You see, David had to put up with a lot of battles. Once he was in the promised land, he had to go through some battles. This is a place where we need to learn about boundaries. It's a fort around our heart, but that fort is boundaries. We have to learn how to say yes to the things that are from God and no to the things that are not from God. Boundaries is learning to say yes to the right things and no to the things that are not from God. The Mount of Temptation. This is the mountain that Jesus, even when he was baptized, he was led into a place, the mountain of temptation, where the devil just quoted scriptures at Jesus and twisted him so much and tried to throw Jesus himself off. And so we need to overcome the temptation and the perversion of the twisted word. That's a real hard place, because when we have scriptures in front of us, but the enemy is using the scriptures to deceive and twist, then it ends up in a battle of temptation between what is from the devil, the temptations of the devil, and what is actually from God. And then the last mountain is Mount Calvary. This is Golgotha. Actually, the word translated skull means Calvary. This was the place that Jesus offered up his life on the cross. And this is a place where we also need to pick up our cross and leave all our offenses at the cross. Lay it all down, all 7 mountains. We have to lay it at the cross and just live for Jesus. But our heart is designed to love. Love is the message of the Bible. And if we back off in any way, say we see, oh, the Antichrist is going to arise, I better build myself a fort out in the wilderness and just protect myself. That is running away from God's purpose for our heart. which is to love and conquer and take land for Jesus and take others with the love of Jesus. We are called to build our house on the rock and to be a city on the hill.